Am I the asshole for refusing to share any of my inheritance with my siblings after I took care of our father alone for 6 years? Hi, Reddit. I never imagined I'd post here, but here I am questioning everything. I, 36F, am one of 5 siblings. We range in age from 29 to 42. Our father passed away earlier this year after a long illness, and things have exploded since the will was read. For context, I was the one who took care of him, full-time, for 6 years. Not off and on, not helping from afar. I moved into his home, left my job. I had been working remotely as a graphic designer and took care of every doctor appointment, hospital visit, medication refill, insurance issue, and late-night emergency. He had Parkinson's, then early-stage dementia, and near the end, needed constant supervision. None of my siblings offered more than the occasional phone call or holiday visit. My dad had always been pretty fair. We were raised lower middle class, but he and my mom, who passed 10 years ago, worked hard and saved. When my dad got sick, he sat me down and asked if I'd be willing to come live with him. He promised he'd make sure I was taken care of for doing so. I agreed. I was single, had no kids, and figured I could freelance part-time while helping him. That didn't work out. The care was so time-consuming I could barely manage part-time work. Eventually, I had to stop altogether and rely on a small monthly stipend from my dad's savings to pay for my personal expenses. I gave up health insurance. I went without vacations, social time, and anything remotely normal for most of my 30s. When my dad passed, I was devastated, but also, in a complicated way, relieved. His suffering was immense, and so was the pressure on me. I had aged 10 years and 6. Then came the will. He left the house fully paid off and worth around $450,000, and what remained of his savings, about $200,000, to me. Everything else was already used up on medical costs, insurance copays, and home renovations to make the place livable for him. My siblings were each left $1,000 in appreciation. That's it. Well, you can guess what happened next. The moment the will was read, it was like someone detonated a bomb in the room. My oldest brother, Mark, 42 megabytes, actually laughed, a short, bitter sound, and said, "So that's it? Dad just gave her everything?" My younger sister, Bree, 29F, started crying immediately. Not quiet tears, dramatic, chest-heaving sobs. She said something about how she had always felt second best, and how this was just one last confirmation that she never mattered. My twin brothers, Kyle and Jake, 33 million, didn't say much at first, just exchanged looks. Jake eventually muttered, "This is bull's oral," and left the room. I sat there, stunned. I knew what the will said. Dad had shown me a draft a year prior when he updated it. But I hadn't expected them to react so violently. The lawyer tried to mediate a bit, explaining that Dad had written a letter to be included with the will. It explained why he left the estate to me. In it, he wrote that he was deeply grateful for my sacrifices, that he didn't want me to have to rebuild my life from scratch, and that this was not about favoritism, just fairness, earned over years of selflessness. Didn't matter. Nobody cared. They didn't want fairness. They wanted money. Within a week, I had angry emails from Bree and Kyle accusing me of manipulating Dad and hoarding the family legacy. Mark tried to guilt me into offering to split the house. Jake didn't reach out directly but posted vague crap on Facebook like, "People show you who they really are when a will gets read." My cousins started texting me like, "Hey, are you okay? What's going on with your siblings?" Apparently, my own family had started airing the drama on social media. 2 weeks later, I got a certified letter in the mail. It was from an attorney representing my siblings. All 4 had retained legal counsel and were exploring avenues to contest the will. Never mind that the will was airtight, drafted by a reputable estate lawyer, and included video footage of my dad signing it in sound mind. Never mind that none of them had lifted a finger to help him for 6 years. They wanted to challenge it. I immediately called the lawyer who handled Dad's estate. He wasn't surprised. He said this happens more than people think, especially when there's one primary caregiver and other siblings feel blindsided. He was confident the challenge would fail, but he warned me it would be long, stressful, and expensive to defend. At that point, I did something I honestly regret now. I offered them each $10,000 just to go away. It wasn't about fairness. It was about exhaustion. I didn't want to drain Dad's gift to me on legal battles. I didn't want to keep reliving the worst years of my life under a microscope. Mark declined immediately, said it was offensive. Bree called me sobbing, saying it wasn't about money, though she never declined the offer. Kyle and Jake said they'd talk it over. A week later, their lawyer sent a counteroffer. They wanted the house sold and the proceeds divided 5 ways. I could keep the savings account. They argued I'd already been paid during the years I lived with Dad. I saw red. Paid? Is that what they thought that was? I sent back a single email. No. The will stands. Take it to court. Update 1. The legal challenge dragged on for 4 months. 4 hellish, gaslighting-filled, emotionally devastating months. My siblings dug into every aspect of my care, as if I were some gold-digging schemer and not the exhausted daughter who wiped our father's mouth with a damp cloth every night for half a decade. Their lawyer requested text messages, receipts, call logs, medical notes. I cooperated fully. I had nothing to hide. Ironically, the depth of my caregiving, the thousands of text messages between me and Dad, the invoices for in-home equipment, the financial records showing I used my own savings to renovate the bathroom when his Medicaid claim was denied, ended up being my saving grace. The judge dismissed the challenge after one preliminary hearing. They lost, and then it got worse. When the judge ruled in my favor, I felt numb, not relieved, not victorious, just exhausted. You'd think winning would mean closure, but all it really did was pour gasoline on the dumpster fire. Bree posted a long rant on Facebook that started with, "Imagine giving up your chance to say goodbye to your dad because your sister made everything about herself." She attached a photo of us as kids. People in the comments, many of whom I barely knew, were commenting things like disgusting behavior and greed is a disease. Kyle posted an Instagram story with a close-up of a legal envelope captioned, "When your sister steals $650,000 and calls it love." Even Jake, the quiet one, updated his LinkedIn bio to include advocate for elder justice, whatever that means. Mark didn't post online. He called me. He actually called me. "I hope you know we're never going to forgive you," he said. "Enjoy the house, traitor." Then he hung up. What hurt more than their words was the silence from the rest of the family. My aunt, my dad's sister, called once to say she was sorry things got messy, but didn't take sides. My cousins, the ones who used to invite me to holidays and girls' weekends, just stopped reaching out. I became radioactive. I didn't realize how much of my social life had been tied to the family until they disappeared. Even my best friend Rachel, who knows the full story, gently asked me, would it really hurt to give them each something, just to make peace? But it would hurt, because it would rewrite the story. It would erase everything I gave up, my job, my savings, my health, to make sure Dad had dignity in his final years. And not one of them, not once, ever said, "Thank you." Update. 2 months after the case ended, I tried to reach out one more time. I wrote a letter, yes, an actual letter, and sent a copy to each sibling. It said, "I never asked to be the executor. I never asked for the money. I asked to help. I did what I did because Dad asked me to, and because no one else would. If you ever want to talk, truly talk, without threats, lawyers, or accusations, my door is open." Not one of them responded. But 3 days later, I got an email from Mark's wife, Lena. She wrote, "I'm sorry, I can't change Mark, but I want you to know I saw how hard you worked. We all did. I wish things had gone differently. If it means anything, thank you for taking care of him." I cried for a long time after reading that. Update 3. Out of nowhere, I got a text from Jake, just, "Hey, can we talk?" We met at a diner. He looked tired, older than I remembered. He apologized. He didn't cry, just said he was over it and realized he was lashing out. "I guess I wanted him to treat us all the same, even though none of us treated him like you did," he said. We talked for 2 hours, mostly about Dad, about the weird stuff, like how he always saved ketchup packets or insisted on ironing his socks. It was the first time in almost a year I laughed about Dad instead of crying over him. Jake and I still talk every couple weeks now. It's not perfect, but it's something. Final update. It's been a year. The house is still mine. I renovated Dad's old bedroom and turned it into a small studio for my freelance work. I started therapy. I adopted a dog, a sweet mutt named Benny who follows me around like a shadow. Mark, Bree, and Kyle still won't speak to me. Sometimes I wonder if I should have just offered more money. But then I remember the long nights, the hospital alarms, the way Dad would grip my hand during seizures, the way he called me his guardian angel near the end. I was there. They weren't.